You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.
Scorpio.
Good morning, Yankees Universe. Oh, good afternoon, Yankees Universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Friday, November 1st. Like always, I'm your guy, Hector, joined by my bestie, my friend, the compadre, Grace Monroe. All you Yankee fans, wake up and get your coffee. Grace, how you feeling today?
I just want to tell everyone, Merry Christmas. I have my Christmas shirt on. I have my Christmas mug with a little Santa. I have officially put up my Christmas tree. No cap. And I needed some joy. I needed some joy after the Yankees debacle, which, we're about to get into. But I said, you know what? I'm just going to decorate for Christmas, and I really don't care what anybody says. So, Merry Christmas, everyone. It's November 1st.
Yeah, and right when we popped on, my guy Damien Serrano came up, so I got to bring up Damien to the conversation. Damien, how you doing?
I said good morning, but good afternoon. I'm so used to being on in the morning.
I know.
I am still soaking up tears.
Yeah.
Depressed.
Yeah.
Are you depressed? You look depressed.
Oh, yeah, a little depressed.
It was tough, you know what I mean? But, we get through it. Yankee cap still on, still representing. And, Yankee to the day we die. So we live and die with this team, live and die with the losses. I looked up to the skies when all that happened. I mean, listen, my uncle was an electrician for Yankee Stadium for 17 years. Grew up in that original stadium. So I looked up, I said, Theo will be back. We'll be back hopefully next season or whenever. So listen, it was tough, but listen, all fan bases, every fan of the Yankees said one thing: we want to be back to the World Series. We were back, whether we won or not. We were back. So it is what it is. What can you say?
Yeah, we're gonna dive through it. We're gonna talk about the off seasons, our predictions when it comes to certain free agents. We'll get through all that. But before we even start the regular conversation, I want to shout out some people in the chat. Double A's in the building. Double A said, I should have started with a thank you, Hector, Grace, and Damien, the California kid TC Stills, who held it down in the beginning. You went through a change, but still managed to give us a great year. Double A, I appreciate you, Unc. And the next conversation will be coming back over the next couple of weeks. So be on the lookout for that, Double A. And Double A says, Juan Soto, you're a free agent, but you gotta be a selfish jerk by saying what you did 5 minutes after Yankee fans who welcomed, supported, and treated you like a freaking king. You could have said not the time. Agreed, Double A. I know some people feel some type of way, but I look at it as the same way that Aaron Judge handled his postseason after the Yankees were swept. After the Yankees lost in the postseason. But shout out to Jacob Petruzzi as well. My guy Jacob said, just wanted to give a shout out to Heck, Damien, Grace, Ghost, and the rest of the Uptown Sports TV family. It's been a hell of a ride with y'all this season. Thank you for the content this year. Absolutely, Jacob Petruzzi. Shout out to everybody who supported us this season, all the different Yankee content creators, all the different Met content creators as well, just in general when it comes to the baseball season. It was a good run. We're at the end of it, but that's not the end of Yankees Morning Brew. Just be on the lookout. Just want to shout out some more people. Frankie Rivera, who is in the building. Frank, how you doing? My guy Jonathan is in the building. Nosebleed section morning. I am no longer on the roof. Ask Grace. This is an inside joke between us. Absolutely. Dennis is in the building. DDV, Dennis, how you doing, my guy? Salute to you. And then I got to shout out my guy, the Ace Avenue, with the $5 super chat. Ace, my guy, how you doing? Ace said, regardless of the outcome, you guys did your thing this year. Appreciate you guys for having me on. Got to get both of you on my channel soon. Keep grinding. Ace, appreciate you, my guy, calling almost every inning, every game. Shout out to my guy, Ace. Shout out to, like I said, all the different Yankee content creators, all of the friends that we have on the channel. But we have to start with what happened. And I'm going to be honest with you, right? I appreciate those words that Damien had. Yeah, we're happy that, we were back in the World Series 15 years. But I got to tell you this right now. Yes, we didn't get swept. And that's the one thing I wanted us to avoid. I didn't want us to get embarrassed and get swept. We didn't get swept, but we did get embarrassed. And I gotta say that 5th inning, and I hate to just jump right into it, but that 5th inning, possibly the worst inning or the worst 30 minutes of my life watching the game of baseball. From every misplay, you know, we could talk about Judge, you could talk about Anthony Rizzo, Gerrit Cole, Anthony Volpe, and Jazz Chisholm as well. It's just time after time. If we were ever going to lose a game, that's the way that the Yankees of the 2024 season were going to lose a game. And like I said, I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but that 5th inning was the worst 30 minutes of my life watching baseball. Whoever wants to take it can take it.
I have a stat I have for everybody here regarding the 5th inning, and not just the 5th inning, but the loss kind of overall and in general. We watched that and thought, this has got to be some sort of record, right? Everybody's thinking, there's no way that anyone has ever messed up this bad in the World Series before. Well, I got the stat for y'all, okay? Are you ready? I got the stat. No team, and you're right, it's a record. Ready? No team has ever blown a 5 or more run lead, allowed 5 or more unearned runs, committed 3 or more errors, committed catcher's interference, committed a balk. Never before in regular season or postseason history since unearned runs became a thing in 1913. That's a stat, y'all. I can't make that up. It's the worst game ever played from that perspective. From these statistics, it's the worst game ever played. It was on the biggest stage you could have been on. I mean, an epic malfunction, implosion,
meltdown,
our all worst nightmare meltdown. Yeah.
Go ahead, Dame.
Hector, I text you and I said, listen, I said the Yankees deserve to lose this game. They deserve to lose.
Yes. And
Bottom
that's why
line.
I didn't want to I was waiting for you to bring that up, because that many errors, you deserve to lose and get embarrassed. My fault, Damien. I wanted to wait for you to say it before I said it. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The Yankees deserve to lose. Bottom line. And this has been a problem for this organization for a long time now. Fundamental baseball.
Yeah.
Next day after, or even an hour later, you hear Joe Kelly saying, we were just waiting on Yankee defense.
Oh.
That's embarrassing, okay? For our organization to be known as Yankee defense.
It was Joe Kelly, though.
Joe Kelly, the biggest troll in the world. But it's Joe Kelly.
Yeah.
And of all people to say it, former Red Sox, Dodger, whatever case may be, he's a troll. But facts, okay? We can't say, call a spade. It's a fact. Fundamental baseball.
Yeah.
So, the next day we hear, Booney's coming back. Now, granted, he took us to the World Series. I get that, right? I get that. But when it comes down to fundamentals, the Yankees organization has been terrible since 18, which is when Booney became manager of the squad. Nothing has changed. And whether it's an organizational issue, whether it's a manager's issue, whether it's a coaching issue, whatever the case may be, changes have to happen one way or the other. Because one thing, when you look, and I hate to bring up the dynasty days because, those are yesteryear, so on and so forth. But defensively, you didn't have any holes.
Yeah.
Defensively, and not only that, but I have to say a little bit does fall on Booney. Fact of the matter is, the worst positional team when it comes to outfield play in Major League Baseball are the New York Yankees. That means that Aaron Boone, why are you not telling your guys, hey, I need you here? Hey, I need you here. I need to put you here to be in better position and make plays for specific hitters, specific situations. None of that happens. And the one thing that infuriated me more than anything in that 5th inning, Gerrit Cole is on fumes. Not one time did Matt Blake come out to come say, you know what, let me give him a rest. Meanwhile, I'm looking at Boone popping bubbles.
Yes.
So That is the one thing I can tell you now that infuriated me more than anything in this world. I'm sitting next to Alyssa. I'm saying, yo, tell me why nobody's out there right now, right here. It's going up to Gerrit Cole,
Yeah.
giving him a breather,
Exactly.
especially after the 2 strikeouts that got us the 2 outs,
Yes.
still bases loaded, still had a chance to get out the inning. And meanwhile,
Absolutely.
nobody gave, not Austin Wells, not Aaron Boone, not Matt Blake, not Anthony Rizzo. Nobody went up to him and said, you know what? Let me give him a call, a breather. Let me give him a break. Let me have him gather his thoughts before he makes the biggest out of his career, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
that's the one thing that infuriated more than anything.
yeah, no, and to piggyback off what you Ace said it as well in the chat, right? At one point, did Boone look at that 5th inning and say, maybe we should have a mound visit to calm things down? It's just like an NBA coach. You got to see the momentum, call a timeout, and calm things down. And that's the one thing. I was at home with my girlfriend. Shout out to Alex, who was in the chat. And I'm like, is anybody going to come out to talk to Gerrit Cole? Are we going to try to regroup? Like, when is Anthony Rizzo going to be that veteran that we know that he is, to take that mound visit and go talk to Gerrit Cole? When is Austin Wells going to step out and just give his pitcher just a breather? Like you said, Gerrit Cole was working on fumes, and we could get into that 5th inning, right? We could have the conversation. Aaron Judge, and I see a lot of people beating up on Aaron Judge, rightfully so. We talked about how his legacy was on the line, right? And I don't know. Like, the only thing that I think Aaron Judge can do is get us a championship. That's the only way Yankee fans could forgive him and forget what happened, is by getting that championship. All season, that was the first era, and I'm gonna bring it up because I already have the stat.
First one.
That was the first era. Right, my guy Non-G on Non-Gatti on Twitter put it, after playing over 1,000 errorless innings in the outfield this regular season, Aaron Judge's first era of the 2024 season completely turned the tide in Game 5 of the World Series, opening a slapstick 5th inning that featured 3 bad plays and 5 earned runs. And that's the one thing that's infuriating, because Aaron Judge, he is on the trajectory to be a Hall of Famer. He is a great player. He is an MVP. He is the catalyst of our team. He is our franchise player. And everyone is just going to remember that 5th inning and the struggles he had during the postseason. And is it fair? Maybe right now, a little bit fair. But going forward, I think a lot of fans are going to hold him to a very unfair criticism. That's just my personal opinion on it. Like I look at it, Anthony Volpe, he had a bad play in the field. Jazz Chisholm couldn't scoop that ball up. That was another bad play as well. Gleyber Torres in Game 1, he didn't cut off the guy properly in order to stop the guy from getting the third. There's a lot of things that we could point to this series, not just the 5th inning in the last game that we played. It was every game. We could point to several instances that said, you know what? We lost because of that. Game 2, we lost because of that. Game 3, we lost because of that. Go ahead, Dame.
And not only that, but, you know, again, that mound visit meant everything, not only to Gerrit Cole, but to that entire infield defense. Because you got 2 outs. Your ace is doing his thing, about to get you out of an unforgettable inning.
Yes.
So the one thing you do is you send Aaron Boone, even if it's you go out there, you talk to your ace, and you talk to everybody in that infield like, listen, guys, we're about to get out of this inning. 1 pitch. That's all it takes. I need everybody razor focused. We made our mistakes. Yes, let's get out of it now. Yeah. Never once did it happen. And that is an indictment to me, not only on the infield, but that's an indictment on Boone. And that tells me one thing. And again, it has nothing to do with the World Series, because everybody knows how I felt about Boone since day one. He's just not the guy. He's not. And if you can't see that, you need to go out to do a simple 30-second mound visit to regroup your squad. And I'm sorry, man. Thank you for the 8 years. Thank you for the 6 years, 7 years, whatever it is. Thank you. But listen, Joe Girardi took a team that had no business being there, and that team was fundamentally great, and they fired him.
he's not a leader. He's not a strong leader. And at the end of the day, it's a strong leader that goes out there and rallies the troops and says, "All right, guys, come on, we gotta focus up." That's not Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone. Well, anyway, I wanted to say, I texted you guys, and I was like, how many pitches has Cole thrown in this inning? He's going on 40 pitches. Nobody's gonna go out and stop him for a second and help him out. We were all three texting each other. I know every Yankees fan out there was losing their mind. I mean, it was so obvious to us. How could it not be obvious to the bench? It's egregious. I'm not sure where I'm so furious about that too, because Daddy Cole is my favorite player, and this man was pitching a perfect game for a while, and then he went to a no-hitter. They loaded the bases with unearned base runners, and then he struck out the next two people at the top of the Dodgers order. This was in the 5th inning. He'd already thrown a bit. He was so dialed in. We could have had him for 8 innings. I know it. Yeah. He was pitching the best game of his life. Yeah. And these errors cost him more pitches, more outs. And nobody thought to go out there and check on your ace and look him in the eyes and say, "Do you got this? What do you need from me? What do you need?" Okay. Nobody thought of that. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. No, Grace, you hit it right on the head, because when you look at this, at our team, right? You look at the way that our lineup is constructed. We're 1-2 dimensional. We're not that versatile, right? So when you put Juan Soto out there, I love Juan Soto, generational hitter. He's not the defender that Mookie Betts is, right? When you look at our infield, right? Our infield does not have top tier defenders. Yes, Anthony Volpe won a Gold Glove. Anthony Rizzo won a Platinum Glove in his career, but we have 2 glaring holes at second base and at third base that are issues, big issues. When you look at our outfield lineup, Aaron Judge, he made a phenomenal play in that 4th inning, diving against the wall. A phenomenal play. He is only going to be remembered for that drop ball in the 5th inning. And that 5th inning wasn't the only mistake. That drop ball was not the only mistake in that 5th inning. And I think Aaron Judge is going to get the majority of the blame, because he struggled for the majority of the postseason. And then in that game, what happened? He wakes up, and the moment he wakes up, Crack starts us off with a 2-run home run. Everybody's feeling good about themselves. Jazz Chisholm hits a home run. We got a 3-0 lead. Then it goes 5-0 because Giancarlo Stanton adds on as well. We were cruising. And I hate to say this, but I saw a lot of Yankee fans on Twitter, and Grace, I said it, they were counting the chickens before the eggs hatched. Talked about, we're going back to LA. You can't touch the money. Don't touch the money. And besides that last game in that 5th inning, like Damien said, and like Grace said, we could point to every game that we lost and every mistake that we made. The Dodgers capitalized on every mistake. And when you're in the postseason, that's what separates the teams that are champions and the teams that are pretenders. Teams that capitalize on other teams' mistakes are going to make it to the next round. The same way how the Yankees and the ALDS capitalize on the mistakes of the Kansas City Royals. We capitalized on the mistakes of the Cleveland Guardians. We got to the World Series by capitalizing on other teams' mistakes. And what did we do? We made mistakes that the Dodgers capitalized on. That's the difference. Defense, fundamental baseball, and that's the one issue we had this entire season.
Let me say something. So to me, it's all people say it's what have you done for me lately? Well, I don't totally agree with this, okay? Because to me, it's almost like players have a bank account, okay? And when you do something good, you're depositing into the bank account. You deposit in. And then when you make an error, or you have, a bad game, or you go 0 for 4, whatever, you take some out of the bank account. You make a withdrawal, okay? Here's the problem for Aaron Judge. His postseason bank account was overdrawn, okay? Overdrawn, because he kept taking out, and we kept lending him credit. And eventually that bill came due. Well, he started trying to make payments on the last day. So then when he made that last error, you're right, Hector. That's how he will be remembered from this World Series.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly how. And it's because his bank account didn't have enough money for that last withdrawal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And New York Yankee media in the chat right here says, we were not that good of a team. Let's just face it. And I want to pin that right there for a second, because is there some validity to that statement? Absolutely. But even with our team being quote unquote not that good, we still got to the World Series. So we're not that far off from fixing the mistakes that we have to fix. And there will be a lot of changes this offseason, whether it's the outfield, whether it's the infield. The bullpen's going to have some changes. Maybe the starting rotation has some changes. The New York Yankees can't just say, you know what, we got to the World Series. This is what it is. We're just copacetic with the status quo. No, you made an improvement from last year. You missed the postseason. You had an embarrassment of the season last year. You made the biggest trade that your franchise made ever since trading for A-Rod by trading for Juan Soto. You need to improve on this. And again, we'll get to the Juan Soto conversations. We'll get to that. But I just want to have a second real quick and keep talking about Gerrit Cole, and I'll throw it over to Damien to lead the convo. But Gerrit said on Twitter, everyone wants to point to all 5 of Gerrit Cole's runs being unearned and how he battled and blah, blah, blah. But if he simply covers first base on that play, the Yankees are playing Game 6 on Friday. That is just a fact. So that's why I said there's a lot of blame to go around, whether it's Judge, whether it's Volpe, whether it's Chisholm, whether it's Rizzo, or whether it's Cole. Where do you view Cole in this conversation on who gets the blame, Dame? And then throw it over to Grace, and folks in the chat, let us know as well.
I don't want to sound like a broken record, but that's exactly why that mound visit would have been detrimental. Because again, you get him back focused. He's not as spent. Listen, this guy just went through what he went through, seeing his defense fail him, so on and so forth. So, but I tell you what, this is not on Cole. Bottom line, I mean, after he did what he did, yeah, mind you, granted, that's your job, Cole. You got to run the first base. You got to cover. We all know this. But again, this is why the mound visit is so important to me, because you reset your mind, you reset everything. And then you take that 30-second blow, you go back to business. But at the end of the day, Gerrit Cole pitched the game of his life. I'm not going to take this, and I ain't going to put this on Cole one bit.
Thank you.
After the 5th inning, he went out there and still threw another 2.5 innings. So I don't want to hear it. Listen, Gerrit Cole was pitching the game of his life. He put the team on his back. He did exactly what he got paid to do as an ace. And at the end of the day, again, to me, that mound visit, lack thereof, produced the lack of judgment, the mental gap that Gerrit Cole had covering first base. So again, man, listen, it's not on Cole. It's easy to point the finger at that, especially considering that would have gotten us out that inning. But this is on Judge. This is on Volpe. This is on the team. Again, this is fundamentals that is simple, fundamental baseball. This is things that, Judge, obviously, again, first error of the entire season. Not something that he does. Like you said, Hector, any play before that, robs Freddie Freeman of busting the game wide open, okay? But again, this is on the team and the team fundamentals. And at the end of the day, when it comes to team fundamentals, it comes down to one person. Because I'm sorry, Aaron Boone, the shit rolls downhill, right? You're at the top of the shit pile, so to speak. So it falls on you.
Yeah. No, and I wanted to echo that. Go ahead, Grace.
My husband and I went round and round about this play. He knows that Gerrit Cole is my personal favorite Yankee. And we went absolutely round and round.
Shout out to the hubby.
A shout out to the hubby. But he was like, Gerrit Cole's got to cover first there. He's got to cover first. He doesn't talk like that. I don't know why I am cursing. But he was like, Gerrit Cole's got to cover first. And I was like, no, Rizzo should have taken that ball. Like we literally argued about it. But to me, I'm like, Rizzo, my boy, you're 10 feet off the bag. Gerrit Cole is way over there. And Mookie Betts is barreling down the first baseline. Okay. Here's my thing. I don't know if Rizzo could have beaten Mookie to the bag, but he didn't even try. And that's the hill that I'm going to die on. Because we have a saying in the South, I don't care who shot John. John is dead, right? So here's the thing. You had the ball, Anthony Rizzo. You had the ball in your hand, and you just stood there. You virtually stood there and watched Mookie run across the first base. I mean, it was absolutely unbelievable. When he hit that ball, I'm like, yeah, what? Like, that's how we all reacted, right? I mean, we all thought we got out of it. The inning's over, right? Gerrit Cole was fucking gassed. I mean, you knew it. Hector, you knew it. Damien, you knew it. Everybody knew it. Anthony Rizzo, when you field that ball and you look up and you see the pitcher is not A, running, B, he's pointing to the first base bag, and then you just stand there? Oh, hell no, my guy. Listen, Rizzo used to be my favorite player, and it really pains me, but I'm like, okay, you got to go. I'm done. You can't. You don't have any power left in your bat. The errors. I know he has 2 broken fingers in his hand, and I respect that. I get it, but I think the time is past for Anthony Rizzo, and it's time to say goodbye. Thanks for the memories. Not on Gerrit Cole, in my opinion.
Jacob Petruzzi says, this is the most mad I ever seen Grace.
That's nothing.
Shout out to my guy Jacob Petruzzi that is in the chat, but I want to shout out some other people. My guy Richie Rivera for Empire State of Baseball in the building. Rich, my guy. First of all, shout out to the folks at Empire State of Baseball. They've done an amazing job this season covering both the Mets and the Yankees. Shout out to everyone that's over there, their entire crew. Shout out to Sierra. Shout out to my guy Joe Puglisi, my guy Rich Rivera, and the other guys over there at Empire State of Baseball. Shout out to ESB. Make sure you guys go and give them a follow. Dee's channel said, I'm really sad for Cole. Both games he pitched amazing, and the defense and offense was not on even par to his performance.
Facts.
Absolutely. My guy Ghost is in the building. Mi hermano de la Isla is in the building. Ghost, how you doing? Shout out to Anthony Medina in the building as well. My guy Chris K said, give our guy Willie Randolph an opportunity. Now that's something that I'm not going to argue against. But Ace said, lack of fundamentals. Rizzo always flips to first. Cole has to realize that and cover the bag.
Rizzo has to realize that the ace is on the mound pitching a no-hitter. I don't give a shit. No.
Run your ass.
No.
Oh, okay. Now going over to Anthony Rizzo, since this is Grace's favorite conversation, right? Anthony Rizzo says, to wear this jersey, it means something special that I wish every baseball player gets to feel, because it's a different feeling wearing this jersey. I love every second of it, Anthony Rizzo. Well, guess what? I hope that memory lives in your head, because that's the last time you should be wearing a Yankee uniform, my guy. No, listen, when it comes down to it, when the Yankees traded for Anthony Rizzo, I think at the time it was to stop the Red Sox from getting him a few years ago. We traded for Joey Gallo. That was the big move that we got at the trade deadline. Joey bleeping Gallo. And then Anthony Rizzo was a toss-in because we were stopping the Red Sox. But then Anthony Rizzo has become like a fan favorite. He's become real good friends with Aaron Judge. He's been a veteran leader in that locker room. But what comes of Anthony Rizzo? We hardly saw him this year because he was battling injuries dating back to last year. Fractured his fingers. You know, he did everything he could to come back, but he didn't have an extra base hit since August, right? If I'm not mistaken, right? And that hurt us at the first base spot in the lineup. It hurt us. Yes, the first 2 rounds he was able to get a couple of singles, but he still didn't get that extra base hit. So Grace, I'm going to ask you, when it comes to your second favorite Yankee, Anthony Rizzo, what's his face? His fate.
Look, amazing guy. No denying
fate. What is his fate? I'm sorry. What is his fate?
I know what you meant. He's an amazing person, you know, beat cancer, does lots of charity work for children and families that are dealing with childhood cancer, and he's an incredible human. Love him to death. Thank you for being an amazing Yankee. Great memories. Unfortunately, at this point, I think we got to move on at first base. That's a traditional power position. We got to have some power. We got to have some pop from our first baseman. If he can't slug anymore, that's a problem. If he's injury prone due to these lingering effects of his concussion and now he's got multiple broken bones in his hand, like who knows how that's gonna. I mean, it's a problem, and unfortunately, or I should say fortunately, we don't have to fire him. We just don't exercise his option, and everybody is still friends. If it was another. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like, he can stay on as a coach or something, but he better teach his first baseman how to get the ball to the bag in an emergency situation in the World Series.
Yeah. And like Sean Brown says, Father Time has caught up to Anthony Rizzo, and you hate to see it. Father Time, it catches up to you. It caught up to Derek Jeter in that last season that he played for the Yankees. Father Time it caught up to Alex Rodriguez as well. It's going to happen. That's just how life is. Go ahead, Dame.
Well, I mean, one or two things is going to happen. If the Yankees re-sign Soto, Rizzo will be back. That's the bottom line. It's going to take a lot of money to re-sign Soto. And once you re-sign Soto, you ain't got much left. And we're going to get, once again, the Brian Cashman specials, right? However, if they don't re-sign Soto, then Anthony Rizzo, you were a good Yankee. And that's bottom line. He was a good Yankee, period. Yeah. It was for the intangibles, not only what he did on the field, but the intangibles, what he meant to the clubhouse, what he meant to as on the field, as a field general. So yeah, he's always going to go down as a Yankee, somebody that appreciated the city, somebody appreciated the pinstripes. But again, to me, it all boils down to Soto. If Soto comes back, Rizzo's not back. Rizzo's back. If Soto doesn't, Rizzo won't be back because that money has to be allocated somewhere else. So, and there's going to be a lot of it, speaking of. So, to me, it all depends on that. It all depends on Soto, whether he comes, stays, or goes.
Well, who's cheaper than Rizzo is TJ.
Yeah.
Or Ben Rice.
Yeah.
I think our lineup next year is going to look so different.
The whole team is going to look different. The entire team is going to look different next year. We got a lot we have a lot of free agents. So
I listen. I love what Ben Rice did for us this season. Don't get me wrong. TJ Rumfield, he's in the minor leagues. There's a reason why TJ Rumfield is 28, 29 years old, hitting 30 home runs in the minor leagues. It's because he can't do it at the big league level.
Neither
right?
But I'm just saying from a
no.
Yeah.
Neither can Rizzo. I'm not an argument to bring Rizzo back as well, but I think we need to get a major league level first baseman at that position. Because as much as I love Austin Wells looked like a deer in the headlights this postseason. Yeah, especially at the plate. He had that one home run, which was cute against the Cleveland Guardians. I was at the watch party. I was literally walking back in, filming it. I was like, it'll be awesome if he hits a home run. And literally, he hit a home run like on the next pitch. So that was cute. That was nice. But he looked like a deer in headlights. And if the Yankees want to try to go back to the World Series, I don't think having a young first baseman who's going to have to go through the same growing spells that Austin Wells and Anthony Volpe has gone through over the past few years in the postseason for the first time. I think we need veteran leadership. I think we need a veteran at that position. Whether it's a veteran who's never been to the postseason, they're still a veteran at the major league level.
Absolutely. I agree.
What about Cabrera? What about Birdie? They're already on the team. Where'd you put that?
I love Oswaldo. I don't think Oswaldo's an everyday first baseman. He's in his position. He knows what his job is, and he excels at his job. Go ahead, Dame.
My problem with that is we're doing the Brian Cashman thing. We're playing players out of position.
Exactly.
We're playing them out of position. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We this has been our flaw for so long. What's up, Jason? It's
You're
been our flaw for so long, playing players out of position. Okay, so and I get it, but at the end of the day, I gotta agree with you, Hector. You gotta get some veteran leadership there. It can't be Cabrera, it can't be Birdie. Is it Rice? I don't know, but at the end of the day, we cannot continue to play players out of position. We got to get players at their positions, and if we did, maybe we don't have those fundamental flaws because they play those positions. Yeah. Go figure, right? Go figure.
Jacob says Grace trying to start arguments with everyone today. I love it. Shout out to my guy Jacob Petuzzi. Shout out to my guy Jason from 161
What up,
River
Jason?
Ave. He is in the building. So New York media just put it down there in the chat that Juan Soto was going to the Mets. So let's have this conversation when it comes to Juan Soto. Shout out to my guy Keith McPherson from WFAN, friend of the show, friend of the channel. Keith said, I think there is going to be more than one team that is willing to go past that line that the Yankees may not be willing to go past. And this is why Keith doesn't believe Juan Soto is coming back to the Yankees next year. And I have to say that I have hope that Hal Steinbrenner understands the writing that is on the wall. And the writing that is on the wall is, bro, you just were embarrassed, not only last year not making the playoffs, but in the World Series when you had the worst fifth inning or the worst inning anyone ever had in a World Series, right? Mm-hmm. If you let Juan Soto walk away, and if you let him not only leave your team, but go and sign in Queens, if you allow that to happen, Hal Steinbrenner, you're a laughing stock. Hal Steinbrenner fans would be on the street begging and protesting for you to sell the team. If the New York Yankees lose their star player that they traded for to their rival, the New York Mets, one, I don't think that's ever happened in sports history, where you have a city that has two teams, one with historic history like the New York Yankees, the New York Mets being the little brother, and then the little brother's still the star player away. I don't think that's ever happened in sports history. And if the New York Yankees allow that to happen, the New York Yankees will become a laughing stock in sports.
Man, I don't think it's coming back, guys. I don't think it's coming back. I want him back. I do. I truly do. And I hate to say this because it's so overplayed, but if this was George Steinbrenner's Yankees, he'd be back, no question. This is Hal Steinbrenner's Yankees. This is Brian Cashman's regime, and they always have a line, right? They always have a line. And the one thing that separates Soto from the Jeters, the Judges, the Williams of the world is that he's not homegrown. And it shouldn't make a difference to me. It shouldn't. But the Yankees draw a line when it comes to contracts. And as much money as Hal has made during these playoffs, I mean, let's face it, you're looking probably well over $100 million, you know, just in home games. Just in the games, not TV money, just in games. Mm-hmm. Somehow, some way, they'll convince themselves that they're better off getting these 4 or 5 players and paying them than paying this one player the $60 million a year, whatever it's going to be, the $600 million contract, 650, not 60 million, but 600 million, $650 million contract, whatever it is, 14 years, whatever. I think somehow they're going to convince themselves that that's not the way to go. They're going to look at the player pool, and somehow they're going to say, all right, we can allocate this money, this in a way. We can still save some money, and we're still going to put out a good product that's good enough to make the playoffs. And that's unfortunate because, again, I don't like to bring it up because it is yesteryear, but this is not George Steinbrenner's Yankees. It's Hal Steinbrenner's, and they run the team a different way.
I feel like the last few big free agents that we've gotten, that we've been in competition with other clubs for, that we landed, they all took a discount in some way, some form or fashion. And I don't think that Soto's going to do that. And that's his business. No. He doesn't owe anybody.
He has a priority. Yeah, he has a priority. Yeah.
I will always love Juan Soto no matter what happens. But in my gut, I just don't feel like he's coming back. I give him a 40% chance to come back. That's not 0, but I feel more that, not that he doesn't want to come back, but I feel more that the Yankees will expect him to take a discount. And they won't exceed the offer, and that puts Juan Soto in a really, between a rock and a hard place, because he's, like Damien said, he's not a homegrown player who's entrenched here, who is like, I'm a Yankee, I want to stay a Yankee for my whole life. He's only been here 1 year. It was a great year, Okay, but he had a great year with the Padres. He had a great time with the Nationals. Like everywhere he goes, he's a happy guy. He has a great time. Like I don't think he feels like it has to be the Yankees or nowhere else. Like Aaron Judge did, like Derek Jeter did, like Bernie Williams did, like Gerrit Cole grew up wanting to be a Yankee. He took a discount to come to the Yankees. All these people took discounts. You see what I'm saying? So that's my feeling. I can't explain it. I think Juan Soto's probably gone because he won't take a discount, and that's what the Yankees are going to want him to do.
And not only that, but he wants to win. So once the Yankees sign him, what can the Yankees present to him to say, all right, this is what we're going to build around you that's different from last year with the money we just spent on you, compared to how to say it, man, the New York Mets have $160 million coming off their payroll. So can the Mets build a better team around him? Can the Washington Nationals build a better team around him? So there are teams out there, and I hate to say it, that can build a better team around him that are willing to pay him as well. And that, to me, that I think winning is huge for him. And yeah, the highest bidder probably will get him, but can the Yankees build around him after that? And I think that's a big thing as well.
And this is my perspective, right? Because I see the point that Damien just bring up, right? And I go the other way with it because yes, you make valid points. What is on the Yankees side this offseason is that the fact that free agency pool is amateurs, is major league average players. So yes, you can have a team like the New York Mets having 160 million coming off the books. After you sign Juan Soto, quote unquote, if they sign Juan Soto, the next best player is Pete Alonso. After that, you have just above average major league talent, right? So if you're the Yankees, yes, you could sign Juan Soto. If you're the Mets, Pete Alonso is not as good as Aaron Judge.
No,
right? There's no other player on that team, or there's no other player in free agency that you could say is just as good as Aaron Judge. Francisco Lindor, defensively, he is up there when you wins above replacement. He is, to me, arguably a MVP in the National League over Ohtani,
Absolutely.
but Ohtani is most likely going to win it. I bring that up to say this, and this is no shade to the New York Mets. This is not me just being a bitter Yankee fan. I got all the respect for the Met fans. Steve Cohen, his wife, Alex, she's amazing. She interacts with a lot of our stuff on Latino sports. She is amazing. She follows us. But when it comes to Steve Cohen, what people got to understand is where he comes from in the financial world, the New York Mets is his vanity project. This is just fun for him, right? What his priorities are is building up around Citi Field the casino he's trying to bring in, the mall that he's trying to bring in. That's what his focus is right now. The New York Mets, he grew up a Mets fan. It's all lovey-dovey. It's a vanity project for him to have his hands. It's like with me and Damien and Grace. Next year we're gonna start a Uptown Sports TV fantasy league, right? Because we want to be in charge of building a roster, having that's a fun project for us on top of doing the pod that we do for Yankees Morning Brew, right? So Yankee fans, yes, you could be fearful of Steve Cohen and his pockets, and shout out to my guy Ace, because I was going to bring it up, but Ace said it. As much as everyone wants to talk about Steve Cohen's pockets, he has yet to bring in a top tier free agent. Ohtani didn't come here. Yamamoto didn't go to the Mets. Yes, he signed Justin Verlander, who is 2 weeks away from his Social Security check. Max Scherzer, who is 40 years old. No other teams were going to sign those guys to the money that the Mets signed them to, and he didn't sign them to long-term deals. Though it was 1, 2, maybe 3-year deals that he got Verlander and Scherzer. So yes, he spent big money and he used his money to get rid of those contracts. But when you look at the superstars that the Mets were promised to get, you got Francisco Lindor. That's it. That's all you got. And the only reason you got Kodai Senga is because other teams that he wasn't a top-rated Japanese pitcher coming over. There were other players that people were waiting for. But Kodai Senga looked like an ace for the New York Mets, especially with the money that they signed him for, $15 million a season. So as much as Yankee fans want to be fearful of the New York Mets, sorry about the screen and stuff, of the New York Mets, and of Steve Cohen's pockets. You got to understand, New York Yankees are the second richest sports organization, sport franchise in North American sports behind the Dallas Cowboys. If the New York Yankees lose Juan Soto because of money, the Steinbrenner should just sell the team. They're not there. They don't care about baseball.
Ooh.
Point blank, period.
I agree. Guys, I gotta go do daddy duty. My daughter's calling. That's why I jumped
All
off
good.
real quick. I gotta pick
All
her
good.
up. But listen, man, I want to say it's been an amazing season. Obviously, as we know, the chat been amazing. The Yankees put us through ups, through downs, emotional roller coasters. And listen, we got. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. We have next year. I'm not saying that, even though I said it. Guys, be safe. Everybody in the chat, be safe. I will talk to you guys later. I'm out.
Bye, Damien.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I thought my mic cut out for a second. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Shout out to my guy Damien Serrano. Love that guy. Shout out to my guy Ghost in the building. Miguel Tejada is in the building as well. We're gonna rock out for like the next 15, 14 more minutes. And since we're on the conversation about Juan Soto, John Boy put it out there. He quoted this dude, Joe Kelly. They started kicking the ball around and playing Yankees defense. Such disrespect. Hope the Yankees hear all of this. If all this open talk about their flaws doesn't lead to change, I don't know what's going to lead to change. And change needs to happen. Now, I don't advocate for people to lose their job. I'm a big guy when it comes to like labor. I support unions. I support workers and stuff like that. I don't advocate for people to lose their job. Mm-hmm. When it comes to Aaron Boone, and this is the hill and the sword that I always fall on and die on. Aaron Boone doesn't construct the rosters. Aaron Boone is given players, is given a roster, and he has to make the best out of it. Now, would I want Aaron Boone to go out there and talk to Gerrit Cole? Absolutely. Do I question some of his bullpen decisions? Absolutely. Some lineup constructions? Absolutely. But I understand that it starts with Brian Cashman. And Brian Cashman needs to understand that this offseason, just like last year, your legacy is on the line, my guy. I'm out here screaming for you and saying you're a Hall of Fame general manager. And Grace looks at me like I'm a boo-boo face. All right. No. She looks at me like I'm stupid when I say that. Okay, Brian, I need you, Brian Cashman, to do whatever you can. And Hal Steinbrenner to re-sign Juan Soto, address the pitching out of the bullpen, go out there, sign Tanner Scott, let Anthony Rizzo walk away, go out there and sign Christian Walker. Those are the three moves that I want the Yankees to make. Re-sign Soto, bring in Tanner Scott, bring in Christian Walker to play first base, and then everything else could just manifest. You could do whatever projects you want with Matt Blake for a starting pitcher or a bullpen arm. What's your thoughts, Grace?
I mean, I've been wanting Tanner Scott since the trade deadline. That he was my number one target on my personal list of who I wanted at the trade deadline. And of course, Hector, you and I also talked about how we wanted, and Damien talked about how we wanted Jazz Chisholm. This was before they even had any buzz about Jazz.
Since spring training, I was calling for Jazz Chisholm.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I wanted Tanner Scott. I wanted him so bad. I was like, bye, Spencer Jones. Don't let the door hit you. I want Tanner Scott. And, oh man, I would love it if he came. I would absolutely love it if he came. I mean, Clay Holmes is hitting the road, Jack. I'm sorry. I'm not even sorry. Hit the road, Jack. You're gone.
I would say both. Sorry to cut you off. I would say both Clay Holmes and Tommy Kahnle. I love you, Tommy Kahnle.
Yeah.
I love you, Tommy Kahnle. Yeah, he's a free agent. He's a free agent. And the only reason why I say I'm okay with letting him go is because I know teams are going to overpay for him because of his performance in the postseason. He did have phenomenal numbers in the postseason. He faded off towards the end, and teams are going to see his postseason numbers, and they're going to overpay for Tommy Kahnle. Tommy Kahnle is like 34, 35 years old as well. So I think his time as being an effective reliever or a back-end reliever out of the bullpen, I think his days are over. I think he's going to get overpaid and go to another team. He may be with the Padres next year. He may be with the Boston Red Sox, but he is going to get paid this offseason.
I honestly don't care where they pitch Clay Holmes. I don't want him on the team anymore. I'm done with him. I want him goodbye. I don't want to put him in the 5th inning, 6th inning, 7th inning. I don't want to put him in it at all. I don't want to see his face.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Tommy Kahnle, and I don't even need to detail why. We all know why. Tommy Kahnle, to me, has been so inconsistent all season. It's been so inconsistent. You really never knew what you were going to get out of him, and he's only really got one solid pitch, and he is injury prone. Like like you said,
I love the guy. I love the guy.
You know,
he's awesome. You know what I mean?
It's been great.
He be wearing those tight pants. His glutes be popping out there on the field. You feel me? So I appreciate his time in New York, but Tommy Kahnle. Now, Jacob has this question. Heck, hypothetically, if you get Scott, are you okay paying him 13 to 14 million a year? This is what I'm going to say about that. I'd rather pay Tanner Scott 13 to 14 million a year instead of paying Tommy Kahnle 8 to 10 million a year, right? If I had those two scenarios laid out in front of me, and Grace, I'm going to ask you, what would you rather pay? Tanner Scott 13 to 14 million, maybe 15 million a season, or Tommy Kahnle 8 million a season?
Oh, well, I mean, if you put it like that, I'm going to pick Tanner Scott. Just the Yankees, they don't have a pattern of really paying a lot of pitching depth, like reliever depth lately. They pretty much spend their money on starters.
Metsy in the chat.
I don't see the Yankees doing it. That's why I wanted to trade for him, even though it was only a rental. I thought it could get us over the hump. This was before Weaver showed up with his cape on and became the hero and ended up being our closer. But I was like, this doesn't cost you anything. Just give them some prospects. Who cares? Prospects, they hardly ever pan out. I don't know how many times I have to scream this from the rooftops. Everybody wants to crucify me because I'm ready to trade Spencer Jones. I don't give a... He hasn't proven anything to me yet. So right now, he's just a lottery ticket. So if getting Tanner Scott was going to get us to the World Series, I was willing to make that trade. I'd make that trade every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Okay. But I don't see them paying him, 14 million, maybe. I mean, maybe they will. Who knows? It all depends on Soto, truly.
Yeah. That's what I say. It all depends. It is all going to start off. Soto is going to set the market for everyone. Nobody else is going to sign unless they're desperate and want to sign. And Soto's going to set the market, and everybody else is going to wait to see what Soto signs so they could try to use that as a negotiation tactic. It's just how it is. Soto is just going to drive the market. LB in the chat says it will be irresponsible for the Yankees to give an individual $50 million a year with how dysfunctional the roster it's assembled together. Make a couple of trades and sign free agents. In 2024, right? I think he's, obviously Juan Soto with the 50 million. I don't think that's out of line to give him 50 million a season. When you look at what Ohtani's getting paid, yes, he has deferred money, but Juan Soto, to me, you definitely have to have Juan Soto back. LB put with all due respect, LB, there's no way that I'm substituting Anthony Santar there with Juan Soto and Luis Roberts. I'm not doing that. Luis Roberts this year, he had a down season. He's coming from a dysfunctional franchise in the Chicago White Sox. And if I'm not mistaken, Luis Roberts, he has a big price tag when it comes to his AAV. He's going to be a free agent soon also, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong with his contract. But as much as I like Luis Roberts, he's coming off of a down season. He's a strikeout machine. He's hitting below 240 on the season last year. Anthony Santar there, I love him. Think he's phenomenal. That's not replacing the productivity you're getting out of Juan Soto. What's your thoughts on that, Grace? Folks in the chat, what's your thought? And LB, also, this is all with respect. Also, I don't want you to think that we're just trying to beat up on your take. Sorry about that. Shout out to LB in the chat.
Who is Kim? at number 9? Kim. Who's
I think
that?
I think the second baseman maybe.
I don't know who the Kim is.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, you guys, I saw this video on Twitter, X, whatever. It was some New York guy, and I'm not sure if I follow him or not, or if he's a content creator or not, but he's a Yankees fan, and he has a big New York accent, you know, and he goes, this is when we were playing the Orioles in the, I guess it was the division series. No, when did we play the Orioles? Oh, just this regular season series toward the end of the year when we were trying to clinch the division. Remember this? And this guy made this video, and he's like, Santander, so they have a fucking here, Santander. I played that video for my husband, and we died laughing. And now we say that in our everyday life. Like, just if somebody repeats themselves, or if something comes up in conversation, like it's an inside joke, we're like, Santander, so they have a fucking here. Because when we were playing them, Michael K, he like loves to say Santander. Anyway, y'all, I just love New Yorkers. I'm on a tangent. Anyway.
No,
I can't wait to see Jason Dominguez next year. Okay.
Just to clarify, when it comes to Luis Roberts, he is 27 years old. Next year, he would be making 15 million. His contract extension starts afterwards. Is 2026, he'd be making 20 million, and then 2027, it's 20 million as well, with a club vesting option for 8 million. I don't know what that means. So he's making 20 million over the next 2 seasons. So you take 20 million that he's making per season, and then you take Anthony Santander, what's he going to sign for 20 million as well, or 25 million? That's 45 million. That's 2 players. So again, like I understand it, but Juan Soto, those 2 guys aren't making up the productivity of Juan Soto. Respectfully, that's just my opinion on it.
And you've pointed this out before, Hector. We don't have to come up with 50 million. We only have to come up with 20 million, because we're already paid him 30 million. 33.
He's making Juan Soto is already making 33 million, right? LB.
Right.
So if you take his 30 million that he's already making, set that aside. Anthony Rizzo has an 18 million club option. You just do not bring back Anthony Rizzo. You let Anthony Rizzo become a free agent. You take that 18 million, put it with Juan Soto's 33 million. That's 55 million you have just on Juan Soto. And you still have Gleyber Torres money coming off. You still have Clay Holmes money coming off. And you still have other contracts coming off for the books. So the Yankees have 100 million coming off of the books. You can allocate 50 million of that to Juan Soto while still having $50 million to play with.
Exactly. But it's not it's not perceived 50 million to the club. It's a perceived, 22 million, or however. I'm so good at math. But
whatever.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's only the difference. They're already paying him 33 from his arbitration. So it was like, just this much they got to come up with, not the whole thing, Yeah, that was a great point that you made a couple weeks ago on the pod. So that's why I was bringing that up again.
I appreciate that. But now, I want to go through some more before we get ready to wrap things up. Alex Almonte, because this is another thing I saw with Bregman playing third base. Now, this is just something how I feel, right? This is just me personally. As soon as somebody does me wrong, if somebody spurns me, right? If you violate me, if you lose my trust, right?
Period.
And I'm quoting that with Alex Bregman, I don't come back around. That's just a hard line that I have in the sand. I don't come back around. After a relationship is broken, I don't come back around. There's nothing to be made up. When it comes to Alex Bregman is that friend that ruins a relationship, because I was a big Alex Bregman fan when he was first coming up as a young kid, right? But then he was with the Astros, and then the whole cheating scandal happened with the Astros, right? The Houston assholes, with the Astros, and then the garbage can banger, right? Alex Bregman just turned into a villain, and Josh Donaldson was a villain that we got, and I was like, all right, let's see what happens with Josh Donaldson. He was a former MVP. He may be washed up right now. Let's see what happened. You saw the debacle that happened with Josh Donaldson. I don't want to repeat that with Alex Bregman.
Same thing. I felt the same way about Correa when he was a free agent, and everybody was saying, we got to get Carlos Correa. We need Carlos Correa. And I was like, no. I don't want nothing. I don't want nothing to do with him, because same thing with Bregman, the whole cheating scandal and the way that they, no, I'm not. As short-sighted as it may be, I don't care.
Mhm.
And I'm not the GM, but I'm just a fan, and that's how I feel.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Jacob says, and LB, I'll get back to you. Shout out to my guy Eddie Snaps in the chat as well. And like Damien said, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We got over 100 people watching us collectively on all platforms. So if you're watching us on Instagram, Facebook, or X, click on over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'm gonna tell you right now, we are at 4,456 subscribers, on our way to 45. So help us out by giving us a subscribe. But Jacob says, heck, what's your thoughts on Cody Bellinger at first base if he opts out? I'll let you answer it first, Grace. You go ahead, give me your thoughts on that, and I'll respond.
I like Bellinger. I have no problem with him. I don't know how much money he's going to cost. Is he going to be less than Anthony Rizzo with the $18 million option? Because this is what I was saying earlier, and I wasn't arguing with Hector or Damien, no matter what anybody in the chat says. I'm here for some flowing, good conversation to bring up points to stimulate, different views and different angles at certain things. But TJ is cheaper and Ben is cheaper than Bellinger or Rizzo would be. Now, are they as good? No, I never claimed that they were, and everybody knows that. But that's not the point. The point is the bottom line, which is the money, and if they go out and do certain things and they have to save money other places, is going to have to result in a less talented position player, no matter if that's second base, first base, third base, anywhere. That's the story of any baseball team ever, or else everybody would have just star. You can't do that. You gotta give some where you can give some. And they have TJ, who is older and not as good, but hey, he's cheap. They've got Ben Rice. They've got they've got some options ready-ish. Not as good, but they're there. They're free. Yeah. They're basically free. So I like Cody Bellinger. I wish that Cody, right? Clay was his dad, right? Okay.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger.
Yeah, Cody. I like him. I kind of was interested in him a couple different times in different seasons. I don't think they've ever called him or shown any interest in him whatsoever. I don't think Brian Cashman, for whatever reason, is interested in him, even though we all are, and we would I think welcome him. For whatever reason, Cashman has never attempted to even start a conversation with him.
When it comes to Cody Bellinger, and LB put it in the chat as well, he had a bad season right this year. If Cody Bellinger would have had the season he had this year, last year when he was a free agent, he would not get the money that he signed for with the Chicago Cubs. I just want to put that out there. The numbers that he produced this year does not warrant $27.5 million for a guy battling injuries or have a history of injuries, right? So if Cody Bellinger opts out, first off, he's not getting more than $27.5 million. If Cody Bellinger opts out and the Yankees give Cody Bellinger $30 million a season, somebody need to go to the FBI office, because I will be doing bomb threats to the Yankees. That makes no sense. As much as I love Cody Bellinger, give him all the respect in the world, the production you got out of him this past season does not warrant the money that he made. Now, he can have an amazing season next year and be an MVP and make me look stupid, right? But that's all hypothetical. So I don't think Cody Bellinger will be a good sign for the Yankees. That's just me personally. Let's see what else, and then we're gonna get ready to wrap.
The way you put it, Hector, it's kind of
go ahead.
It kind of is like you framed it, like a lateral move, like Anthony Rizzo, Cody Bellinger. They're kind of the same. They kind of cost around the same. They both have injury problems. They're both, you know what I mean. So I think the way you just put it is really smart.
Yeah, and like Gregory's saying, Rizzo's going to be making 17 to 18 million. I think his option, if the Yankees don't pick it up, he has a $6 to $8 million buyout. So that would mean 10 to 12 million left over. So you still take that 10 million. And you take that 10 million, add it on top of Juan Soto's 33 million, right? Gleyber Torres is making 14 to 15 million. You take 5 million for that, and you add it on top of that, and that's 50 million right there, right? Public education mathematics on full display right now here on Yankees Morning Brew. But Grace, I love you. Just know that it was great calling the season with you. You know, after every Yankee game, the World Series, we was able to get to the World Series. I don't think in August we had the Yankees going to the World Series on our bingo card, seeing how the team was playing, but I couldn't have done this season without you, especially these last 2 months with the whole rebrand. I couldn't have done it without you, and I couldn't have done it without Damien Serrano, and I couldn't have done it without my guy Ghost, who helps out tremendously. Shout out to my guy Ghost. Shout out to everybody who was in the building supporting, like always. Jacob Petruzzi, Old Sarge is in the building. Double A as well. Eddie Snaps, Ace, my guy Ace. Appreciate Ace. Been a big fan of Ace. Glad that we was able to have Ace on the show. We'll definitely be doing some stuff in the off season. My guy Medina, I love you. Anthony Medina, appreciate you. Eric Wallace is in the building. My guy EY, what you doing? Shout out to Eric Wallace. LB, who is in the building. Shout out to LB. Metsy, even though he's a Met fan, my guy Metsy be listening to the conversation. Shout out to my guy Mets 2128 in the building. Grace, last words.
Yeah, this has been an amazing year. I hate to be one of those fans, but after I had a 24-hour meltdown and I woke up this morning, I'm like, you know what? I'm proud of the boys, what they were able to accomplish this year. Yes, I'm disappointed. Obviously, I wanted to win the World Series. Too bad we couldn't play an AL Central team in the World Series, because then we would have number 28. But that's, you know, a horse of a different color. Thank you so much for letting me join the show, and everybody in the chat, and all my Yankees friends that I met this year. And like I've told you guys before, I was alone on an island being a Yankees fan, and through this family, I've been able to gain just so much joy in my life from having Yankees friends to talk to on X or to text, or just to go through the ups and downs of being a Yankees fan with. And I really, really love all you guys and appreciate you so much. I really do.
Definitely. Grace, the feeling is mutual. Again, shout out to my guy CK with the $2 super chat. He said, what do you think is the plans for Spencer Jones? I think you already know, if you haven't heard, how Grace Monroe feels about Spencer Jones. Shout out to Spencer Jones. And shout out also to the Tryon Public House. That's where we had our watch party. Game 1 of the World Series. Even though it ended in a loss, it was still an amazing time. Shout out to the Ono Nile. The managers there, the bartenders, the servers, they were amazing. If you're in the area, if you're in New York City, this is their Instagram. Give them a follow. Shout out to my guy Joel from the All-Star Media. My guy Joel, me and him met at autograph signings earlier in the year. We developed such a great relationship. He came through with a signed Johnny Damon 8x10. He came through with a Chuck Knobloch 8x10. He came through with a Clay Holmes 8x10. And we were raffling it off when Clay Holmes came into the game, when he gave up a run and people were booing and upset. So even though that happened, shout out to my guy Joel. I will be putting out some footage from that watch party that we had last Friday. But again, it's been an amazing season. The off season starts right now. The hot stove is in full effect. So we will be having the hot stove episodes. Yankee fans, always stay positive. Drink some water. Say something nice to yourself in the morning. And like always, I'm Hector.
I'm Grace Monroe.
This is Yankees Morning Brew, and we out of here.
You fought well yesterday. Your style is unorthodox.